You ready?
I'm ready.
So Nick Hudson, thank you for joining us on the iyarn podcast. It's great to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here, mate. Thanks for having me on.
It's great. So what we like doing to start off the podcast is actually hear a bit of a favourite quote of yours. Do you mind sharing it with us?
A favourite quote of mine. I'll tell you one that resonates well with me is everyone has time. It's how you choose to use that time, which is important. Have you heard that one before?
I have, and was it Theodore Roosevelt, or it was one of the founding not Roosevelt, but one of the founding fathers says it's quite a stoic kind of mentality. And I think I was studying was it Washington or something like that, and they were saying something very similar along the lines like we've all got the same number of hours in the day, and it's up to those who wish to actually choose it for service or not.
That's right.
And it's a telling tale of time. Like everyone has always had that same amount of time on this planet. Some people ended shorter periods, but every day, those people who've done amazing things on this planet haven't had more time than you.
That's it. So, we've all got the same amount of time. This is how we use it. It's really important, particularly at the moment. It's interesting to see like these days how people are using their time. It's really shifted, I think, particularly what's happening out there at the moment.
Totally. Well, on that tone, have you felt how's your time allocation, things going, routine, things like that? Fill me in. Like, obviously, we're a few weeks into lockdown.
I've got to tell you, my routine is a very unusual one at the moment. So not only am I working at home for my day job, but I'm also obviously heavily focused on the push-up challenge, and the day just blurs from the moment I wake up. It's literally get the laptop out, begin work through till whenever I'm exhausted and I need to sleep. So routine is out the window for me at the moment. I try and get some exercise in there during the day and try and catch up to some people to keep control of my mental health. But my routine has definitely changed over the last few weeks, I got to tell you.
Are you still getting a few cheeky push-ups in the mornings?
Yeah, try and throw in a few cheeky push-ups. Got to stick with the brand. Got to get myself. I'm worried. Lucky that I'm going to go. I'm worried about your podcast and potentially others. They're going to challenge me to some push-ups, and I'm not going to be able to keep up with the host. So please don't challenge me to any push-ups. You'll probably kick my ass.
Don't worry, mate. I know that you're already working hard enough, so I wouldn't put extra strain on you that way.
much appreciated.
So I guess I'd love just a lot of people just so curious around the push-up challenge. Like, it is an amazing initiative that you've set up. And I remember the first time I heard of it, I was like, this just is a no-brainer. What an amazing way to start a fantastic conversation with your mates. It's something you're united to do every day. But cue wind the clock back. Where were you when you thought up this would be a cool idea to set up?
Yeah, well, it's gone through. It's a great question. If you rewind a few years to myself and a bunch of mates doing a number of push-ups. It was winter a number of years ago, and we're like, how do we get our beach bods ready? How do I get our beach bods on for summer? And we thought, let's do a lot of push-ups. And so we challenged ourselves to do a few thousand push-ups in a month. We nailed it, and our mates, of course, saw us doing this, and they're like, what are you doing? And then they got on board, and it grew from there. So year one, we had 4 people involved. Year 2, we had 1,000 people involved. And
what year was this? What year was the first year?
So year 1 was in this format. So it's 2017. So 2017 we had 4. 2018 we had 1,000, and last year 2019 we had 50,000 people involved. So it just went nuts. I hate to use this term, viral. You could say it went viral, which I hate using that term. It's probably inappropriate to use it this time. So it went nuts, and we're obviously extremely glad that it did, and we think that it went nuts for a good reason. So whilst we started it to get fit, I've always, or for a long time now, I've been involved in sort of the mental health space of my community. Which is why iyarn resonates so well with me. But I've been involved in the mental health space for a while now, and I was wanting to do something more in that space. And after seeing the interests of my mates back in year one, like, all right, how can we give this sort of a mental health sort of feel about it? How can we get mental health involved in this? And that's when the challenge sort of morphed into where we have it today. So today or this year, the number of push-ups that we do in 3 weeks reflects the number of people who took their own lives in Australia last year. So this year we're doing 3,046 push-ups. And people say to me, people contact us, they message me and they say, Nick, 3,000 push-ups, 3,046 push-ups, that's a lot. And to that I say, yeah, it is. It's a lot of suicides, too many. So if you think 3,000 odd push-ups is a lot and it's painful, think about the pain that someone's going through to push them towards that moment in their life. So we're saddened that number being so high. It is unfortunate that's high, but that's part of it. You feel that pain. You really want to know that we're doing it for a good reason.
Mm.
So over the so that's sort of how the event's evolved over the last few years. Again, we're super proud of what we've achieved so far. Last year, as I said, we had about 50,000 people taking part. Combined, I think it was something like 55 million push-ups banked through the app, through the event, which Lockie is 2 per Australian, about 2 per Australian. So I like to think of it as if we've improved the physical health of Australia by 2 push-ups per person. I'm not sure if we can do it like that, but that's how I like to think of it.
Well, to tell you the truth, I think there's a lot of people in my group particularly who aren't like mad keen fitness guys and girls who wouldn't be doing many push-ups. And next minute they'll part of a group and it got everyone to do it. And it wasn't, and one of the big things I want to acknowledge as well that I think really makes the whole challenge so sticky is these fantastic messages you send every day. I think that just adds so much context. It's not like, oh, cool, I'm going to do 3,000 push-ups in the month. It's actually you're bringing everyone along that journey, and that's why I see there's so many fantastic outcomes out of the push-up challenge, both on a directly through the individuals involved, but and really the funds you raise or yet to talk about, but also on the individual level, their awareness around mental health and the role that one person can play with that.
I'm really glad you've brought this up. So yeah, whilst there's that sort of gross target, that massive target of 3,000 that we're working towards, every day the number of push-ups varies to reflect a vital mental health statistic. So for instance, one day we might be doing 150 push-ups because that's how many minutes of exercise is recommended per week. Another day we might do 45. The target might be 45 because 45% of people will suffer a mental health illness in their lifetime. So we think the messaging there is very strong. And then people think about, well, hang on a sec, why am I doing, what's today's target? It's 150. Why is it 150? Because of this. So we're over the challenge, we're hoping people learn about mental health and sharing those messages as well. So through social media, a lot of people shared the messages online through Facebook, Instagram, and whatnot, which really helped get the message out there around some of the core things we focus on: diet, exercise, sleep, connecting with others. These things are so important for us to maintain our mental health. So we think the event is great in staying fit and having something fun to do, but in terms of educating not only participants but the friends of participants as well through the mechanisms I just mentioned, we think it's effective on many levels.
And then I guess there is that impact there, but then also on the other side, people are raising money, not just a little bit of money. Like you raised a lot of money.
We did. So last year, the Australian public rose up and helped us out. It was amazing. So last year, 2019, we raised around $2.5 million, which went to Headspace, the National Youth Mental Health Association. So Headspace support 12 to 25-year-olds. And they have centres all over Australia. So they've got about 118 centres all over Australia where they support the youth of this country. So fundraising was a massive success last year. I've got to be honest with you though, it's not the main reason we do it. The main reason we do it is for people to get fit, have fun, learn about mental health, and stay connected with others, which is particularly important at the moment. But fundraising is nice to have as part of it. So whilst we encourage people to take part, we'd like as many people taking part as possible. If people choose not to fundraise, we are 100% okay with that. In fact, the vast majority of people participants did not fundraise last year. We are very comfortable that the event's free to take part in, which we're very proud of. And again, we don't want to put pressure on. But we understand some people, fundraising is not their jam. Get it. It's not their thing. So don't worry about fundraising. Just participate, learn something about mental health, and maybe have a chat with someone about mental health. We get it.
I love it. And I certainly did find that. And, for me, yes, being a part of it, we set up a WhatsApp group. And so that WhatsApp group's still been active the last 12 months since the last event. So everyone's still communicating. And, when you see each other out, it's kind of like an interesting, oh yeah, remember that. And yeah, that was interesting. And it just comes up in so many different ways. It really do. So one of the things I think a lot of people are interested in, because there's a lot of non-for-profits. I've been in non-for-profits in the past. And one of the challenging thing is like that administrative kind of, when organizations do grow from 4 people to 1,000, then all of a sudden 50,000 people you're supporting these campaigns, the overheads can be a bit of a, and then all of a sudden that $2.5 million turns to $500,000 going to the charity at the end of the day. So tell me about the governance of the organisation and things like that.
Yeah, sure thing. So I got to start off by saying, if someone had told me before I started on this journey just how hard it was going to be, I may not have gone ahead with it. Chances are I would not have gone ahead with it. It'd be easy for someone who's outside of it to think,
Hey, Nick, do you mind just saying that again? It just, the internet cut out and you're just about to say, and I'll record it and cut it back. But you're saying if someone had told you to do this, you probably wouldn't have.
Look, I think we cut.
I just saw you clap, so then I can see the audio. Yeah, you go now.
I think we cut out there for a second. If someone had told me how hard it was going to be to run this event, I probably would not have gone ahead with it. I had no idea of the complexities involved. And from someone from the outside, you'd say, well, how hard is it to run an event like that? Well, there's many different aspects. So you can imagine the marketing of the event is actually a big one. Whilst people are interested in it and share it with their friends, and that's how we get people involved and all that, which we really appreciate, there's also a significant cost associated with marketing it and getting it out there. And the running of it is not cheap. So we've got a website. Website is specifically for us, built by us. It's not your standard sort of website you can get off the shelf. It's tailored for us. You've got the app, which tracks your push-ups. You can bank your push-ups in there and all that. And then there's the customer service side of things as well, where we've got a small team of people across Australia who are ready to respond to our participants' requests. And don't even get me started on some of the other costs involved, like insurance and legal and all that. There's definitely costs in there which we have to pay. So in terms of scaling up, it's been a learning experience for myself and for the team. Constantly going, all right, what happens if we reach this next level? What happens if this happens? And we're constantly evolving to suit. Yeah.
Fantastic. So do you have a governance structure? Is it registered non-for-profit, and then the purpose is to fundraise for organisations who are doing work of purpose, or?
Yeah, sure thing. So we're a social enterprise. We support charities. So this year we've chosen to support Headspace. We love what they do, which is why we're supporting them. But the push-up challenge itself is a social enterprise. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. So we've gone through why you set it up, why there's the numbers, the fundraising outcomes. What has kind of been and you've gone through how challenging you're setting up a non-for-profit is, but how, for you personally, your time invested into this, how have you personally changed as a person having gone down this journey?
Well, it's been huge. So the first couple of years went quite well. in the back of the second year, after we got 1,000 people on board, I was quite stoked with that. And I was like, oh, I wonder how big we can make this. But if someone had said, oh, look, you're going to have 50,000 people next year, I wouldn't have believed them. There was sort of a moment for me shortly after the event where we had 1,000 people. I was told that, so in the months after that, I was told that I was going to need some life-saving open heart surgery. And leading into that, I had a bit of a moment in life where, leading to that surgery, sort of questioned my priorities, my lifestyle, and the rest of it. Had the surgery went well. And then coming out of the surgery, similar thing. I was bedbound for a long time. Was time rich for the first time in as long as I can remember, and had time to think about how I wanted to spend my time in life, and had time to work on that. So during my recovery, I was stripped of the things I liked. I was stripped. I couldn't exercise. I couldn't spend time with my mates, and I couldn't be as involved in the community. So there, from my bed with my trusty laptop, I decided to really ramp up the push-up challenge and put a lot more time into it. So I guess I was a bit fortunate to have sort of not life's normal distractions put aside. Of course, there's massive distraction in here playing up. But then I was able to focus a bit more on push-up challenge. So from that, I realized, I could see, my role in society. That sounds weird, but what I want to do to shift a bit, and then I shifted some of my priorities in terms of my day job. So I've now gone part-time at my normal job to allow me more time to focus on my own mental health, my own physical health, and also the push-up challenge, which has been a big shift in lifestyle for me.
Well, mate, just a big thank you for doing that, because a lot of people will feel a lot better for it.
Oh, my pleasure.
So with that in mind, like you're pretty well prepared for this COVID then. Sounds like this is the first time you haven't been able to exercise, been pulled away from a few things, that normal way of living, that inconvenience.
You're talking about Corona, like that whole...
Yeah.
So yeah, you can say I'm a little bit trained in this. This social isolation thing, though, it sucks, doesn't it? It absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
Trying to stay connected to people right now is challenging. Yeah.
So I think with that, we might, how are you? What are you kind of some things that you're doing to stay connected with people? Because it's a big part of mental health, staying connected.
Staying connected with people and with nature is very important for mental health. I guess it's no secret that shares in Zoom are probably going up right now as people embark in more online stuff. I read an article the other day that Zuckerberg was saying that their peak time for the use of Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, all owned by Facebook, of course, is usually on New Year's Eve. And right now, every day is exceeding the numbers they see on New Year's Eve. So I guess everyone is leaning towards these online platforms, which makes sense. I know I've been doing a lot of that as well. Zoom is getting a workout from me, and I'm sure all the other platforms. So what I'm doing, I'm using Zoom a lot to connect with people professionally, but also with friends. A lot of other online. There's quite a few games that are popping up as well, and a few more apps that are popping up, which are quite popular. Which I'm getting on, but also trying to exercise a little bit more. I'm really hoping they don't put on like the next level of thing where you can't leave your house too much. That's really going to suck. I'm also with this extra time though, I've got to say, without going out to cafes or restaurants and all that as much, it's giving me more time. I think it's giving us all a lot more time to think about how we're going to spend our time. So I'm doing more cooking. My house has never been cleaner. You can ignore the stack of stuff on the shelves back there. My house has never been more organised, and the garden's looking a lot better. So I guess it's worked well on that front.
Yeah, right. You're raising an interesting point. Like, when you had post surgery, and then now as well, is like that time to reflect. And obviously the surgery it was very painful. I can't imagine what it was like, but actually allowed you space to actually do something hugely impactful. So I think that's what a lot of the conversation I've been having recently, when people go beyond the now, not necessarily the now, but being present at the moment, but getting beyond this short-term pain that everyone's going to be in, social isolation, getting homebound, not being able to go outdoors and all these different things, actually seeing that, the other side of that, which is potentially more time to work on a craft, the old project you've been working on and things like that. And I think it's actually quite awesome to hear that really the time where you really knuckled down and was able to make that big jump with the push-up challenge was in that time that you gave yourself. So I think people get a lot out of that. So thanks for sharing it.
My pleasure. So I think it's easy to look at our current situation with Corona and it's easy to let it get you down. It may stop a lot of us from doing what we normally do. But maybe that needs to be challenged. Maybe we need to sit back just for a second, or maybe just for a couple of months, or however long it's going to last, and think about that, and think about some other things that we could be doing with our time, such as working ourselves, learning, taking up a craft, cooking more, all that sort of stuff. So I think, which are all healthy things. So whilst it might be a bit hard to connect with people, and maybe connecting with the environment a little bit harder as well, I think there's an opportunity here too.
So I guess with that, at this phase of the podcast, we kind of talk about the iyarn and your personal iyarn. So before we had this call, you completed a bit of a generic iyarn that I've sent through to you, the 8 areas of life, but also you attended the event in Northcote that we did for the World Suicide Prevention Day down at Northcote Surf Club. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how that went.
Well, first of all, Lockie, I'm a big fan of the iyarn app. I think it's fantastic. I can see massive potential. It's simple and effective. And what else could you ask for with something like this? So so when I went to the opening ceremony, is that the best way to describe it? The opening ceremony.
The opening ceremony. Well, we did have a welcome to country and a fair bit of
yes, no, it was beautiful. The whole thing was beautiful, and I really enjoyed being there. And the vibe in the room was largely a testament to your vibe, sir. But it was just so warm and welcoming, and I like to think that the app sort of embodies that. It sort of encourages people to be open about where they are in life, and to trust their local community on the app around that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that experience. I'm enjoying the app. Whenever I use it, it's a bit like coronavirus. It makes me, in a good way. It makes me sit there. It makes me really ill. It makes me sit back and reflect. And it's asking these very important questions that we should be asking ourselves regularly around the dimensions that are within there. So I am enjoying using it for that reason.
I really like that. I never thought it'd be compared to Corona, but you know what? You managed to cover it up then well.
Probably don't use that in your promotional strategies for the app, but yeah.
So I guess with that, like I see, we've got this generic 8 areas of life wheel that I got off a conference I went to. They spoke about family, learning, love, work, friendship, wealth, and charity. They were the 8 areas that they like talking about as being like a well-balanced life. And the idea of iyarn, it's okay that some things are really good and then some things aren't as good, because it's like gives you that perspective. If one area in your life isn't as strong, like for example, some people going around and as a result of coronavirus may have lost their job, which is it's a real story. So financially things may be weaker, but they may, they're connected to family. They got more time to maybe contribute to their community down the garden or whatever it is. So other areas, so that you get that perspective, so it builds resilience. So for yourself, how do you, I feel like obviously you wouldn't be where you're at if you weren't quite a reflective person to be able to do these different things. Do you have like a bit of a process of reflection and journaling that you do that helps you kind of make the most of your time?
A process. Well, I'll tell you what, on the wall, I'm not sure this what my formula is here. What I do have up on the wall, very prominent, is are my goals. So I walk past this particular part in my house however many times a day, and it's got up there some very big, things to allow me to stay focused. But if your question's more around how do I manage my time to keep myself healthy and on the right track,
keep balance.
Keep balance across those things. Okay, so no, I'd say I'm not great at it. I'd say in terms of I get tunnel vision, Lockie. I see something that I want and I go for it, and I put a lot of my energy into that, and as a result, my balance can slip. Well,
Totally.
by definition, if you're extremely focused on one thing, then the balance will slip. So having an app like iyarn allows you to consider that, and completing it this morning. I was able to, as occasionally happens when I use it, it's like, oh my God, right, yes, okay. I've completely neglected that, or I've significantly neglected that aspect of my life, which, if I'd sat back and thought about it, would I have come up with that? Maybe, but the way the app sort of displays it makes it very clear that, I'm not so strong in there at the moment. So
I really appreciate you sharing that. Totally.
No,
it's not comfortable. And I guess that's the reason why I set up. I'm not saying I'm any indifferent. And I think a lot of people who are ambitious, they want to, have an impact, and they're around today, they want to contribute. And you do get that. And I think, a lot of us are inclined to have that tunnel vision, have the blinkers on, focus on that, and you will get the outcome. The other day we had 4-time Olympian Dan Collins, dual medalist, and what he was all talking about, you got the blinkers on, because if you don't have full focus, you're not going to win. It's done. But then he talks to every now and then you got to stop and actually let your blinkers up, assess your situation, become aware where you're at, because if you're like that all the time, all of a sudden you're not actually connected with how everyone else is tuning into that. So you may have the best product ever for the push-up challenge, but you've only got your mum, your sister, and your mate who's doing the program. You're missing all these bigger part of the community. And obviously you've been able to testament to that, getting 50,000 people joining you. I bet it's going to be bigger this year. But yeah, it's a really, I think it's important for people to realize that, because some people go, oh, it's life, it's balance. I hear there, but the reality is, we lose balance often.
That's right. So I've got to admit, I'm not great at it. I'm not great at that balance. And so if I think about people close to me, that somewhat agree with that.
So I think before we wrap it up, I'd love to kind of get a couple of, we spoke earlier that you pulled it a month earlier, the push-up challenge.
Yes. So the push-up challenge now begins on the 11th of May, which is 5 weeks from when we're recording this podcast. Very exciting. It was due to take part in June, which has been the plan for almost a year now. And then a week ago, we're like, hang on a sec. We're getting all these messages. We're getting all this interest from all these people saying, what can you do to keep us busy until then? And can you bring it forward? And we're like, too hard. It's too much to organize. And finally we cracked. Finally, we're like, all right, let's bring it forward to have it in May, which was not an easy decision, and it in effect changed a 10-week sort of program into 6 weeks, and now a week of that's gone into 5. So we've had to significantly reshuffle our whole plan and reconsider everything. So last week has just been madness, and I suspect the next 5 weeks is not going to be any different, which, well, to be honest with you, it's probably not going to be great for my mental health. But I think the net value to the Australian community should be good. So we're now kicking off on the 11th of May is day one.
So what can people do, in this 5-week lead up to support, to kind of support what you're doing?
Sure thing. Get involved. So register, of course. Put your name down. 0 cost to register. as part of that. We're going to have some resources online that people can use to, to get fit and stay well and all that sort of stuff. So some free stuff available there. And if they're keen, again, not everyone's jam, put the word out there, get some others involved, get your mates involved, your workplace, your local sporting club, maybe your family, get others involved. It's zero cost and it's a bit of fun. If you want to fundraise, go for it. But again, it's not absolutely required. So we respect that.
Totally. Are there anything bit different this year that everyone can really look forward to? Always a formula, it's a successful formula, it's working.
So we've made things a lot better online. The online experience should be very different this year. Obviously, the number of push-ups we're challenging this year is different, which is slightly better on the previous year, but still a long way to go. Now, if you do want to fundraise, you can support your local Headspace centre. So you can fundraise directly for your local Headspace centre. And with 118 around Australia, there's probably one sort of close to you. Or close to the participants. So that's new this year as well.
What were some of the really innovative fundraising programs you heard of last year that could give people some inspiration outside the norm of just, putting their hat around and giving some money?
Yeah, so great question. We had people, making up their own sort of mini challenges around the event, and people posting pictures of themselves online with the hashtag unique push-up to try and engage people around the event. So we had people doing push-ups in all sorts of locations. Last year, we had people doing push-ups in groups, which probably won't be as common this year, unless of course it's with what's the current ruling, family or housemates. But yeah, so unique push-up is a good one. People doing push-ups in all sorts of weird but of course safe locations, taking a photo of that and posting on their socials.
Fantastic. Well, Nick, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on board. And whereabouts can people find you?
Sure thing. So just Google the push-up challenge. If you're after the event, to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn. But yeah, Google the push-up challenge and it should come up. If not, pushupchallenge.com.au.
Fantastic. Thanks again, mate. Catch you later.
My pleasure. Cheers, Lockie. See you, mate.